right, so you might have taken a quick break from, this and the last few videos that I gave you to kind of try and figure out, what do you want to do? What's your final report going to be on? Uh, after your first source summary, and actually after your first rough draft, you might find that you need to change up your idea a little bit, and that's totally okay. Like, just keep in mind that, like, research is fluid. Like, it changes. The more information we get, we just have to start changing, like, the ways we approach stuff. That's just how it is, being fluid. All right. So that being the case, I will include different types of ways of outlining. I'm going to include videos in here, and they're much longer, and I apologize, but I really want you to feel comfortable in this particular area so that you go, oh, I get it. And I feel terrible. I don't like putting things in boxes, but sometimes we need it to kind of guide us as we go through. As you get more experience in this, you'll feel more comfortable. But for now, I'm just going to kind of give you some quick and easy solutions to outlining. For me, what I enjoy doing is getting my idea and then kind of breaking it down into all these different points. And you kind of end up in a little rabbit hole. But then what's cool about an outline is it kind of keeps bringing you back. Okay. All right. For me, I will start with my question, whatever my question is. Might not even know what my question is. I'm like, I don't know what my question is. I think I just need to break it down into these parts and see what question comes to me. And that's what happened with week 6. I didn't have the question until I did the research. I'm like, what do I want to answer here? And that's how that worked. So it was like, I guess, a reverse outlining kind of thing. So again, you might not have your question. You're like, but I don't know what I want to say, but I have these different topics and I want to see how they, work together. Okay. So maybe you have a couple different points. So for me on week 6, I'm like, I love that topic of how these religions to me seem to all coincide. They seem to make sense, but I don't know how. I don't know how to break that down because I feel like this relates to how we are in society, but I don't know what that means. Again, these are all theories and ideas. This is not a, you should think this. This is a, I don't know, these are some ideas I had. Here you go. Okay. So my first point was, I want to understand the history of all these, the history of society, of coins, because it says, in God we trust. All these things, like, how do they correlate? And so I went and I put, first I need to do the religions. And then I need to see where there's that tie between, I guess, church and state. And I can't remember what else I did. But anyway, I kind of broke it down. And then it actually gave me my final, my final question, I guess it were. And then that's still like, in the works. That would not have been like a full paper. I would have had to go back and like revamp it, but it's just kind of a way of where you saw, oh, I can kind of see where there was an outline there. Anywho, so by the way, when you do your papers, please do not put in conclusion. I get that so often, very like every year. In conclusion, like, you don't have to say in conclusion. I know it's a conclusion. How do I know? Because it's the last sentence in your paper. It's the last paragraph in your paper. I know it's a conclusion. I just need you to sum everything up. That's what a conclusion is. So you don't have to tell me what it is. And also, please don't use I think. You either know the answer or you don't. So be mindful of that. When you go to write your paper, don't go, well, I think. No, you either know or you don't know. You did the research. This is what the research says. Just see what the research says. And there you go. Okay. It just gives you a stronger paper and gives you a stronger voice. Take out all the I thinks. You could say, based on the research, such and such. All right. So anyway, I just throw that out there. Usually when I'm in class, like, I emphasize that very heavily and I scratch it on papers. I'm like, don't use the word I think. All right. So when you are doing your peer reviews for the rough draft and you see your peer say, I think, please go in and go, don't use I think. I pointed my finger at you, but you know what I mean. Okay, so go ahead online. You'll see the how I outline a paper. I will throw in the video after that in just a second. And the same as reverse outlining. So you're going to have the video. I don't need to, double up on that. When you go through and reorganizing your drafts, by the way, when we talk about our rough drafts, they're going to look significantly different than our final drafts. And the reason for that is there's more research, there's more editing, you're going to take things out, you're going to put a lot more in. So I just want you to be in the habit of, rough drafts are not final drafts. And I really didn't push for that in the narratives. And it was really hard because the narratives are very personable and there's only so much we can do. I didn't push a lot for, I kind of did, but I didn't push as hard as I will for the rough drafts and the final draft. So the rough draft, I really want you to show me that when you do your final draft, that you were like, look at this beauty. Look at how beautiful this is. And I give you so much time to do that, that you can do it in little pieces. It doesn't have to be perfect. One thing that I did notice for those who did heavy revisions, I loved that I saw it throughout a few days. Like you would attack one part and then take a break. And then you come back and you attack another part and you would take a break. And that is what you should be doing when you come to revising papers, instead of just, I'm just going to do it right before I turn, right before it's due. Trust me, I see these things. What I would do is give yourself time to just kind of keep working on it. Okay. It's not a just do it and turn it in. I mean, maybe some of you that works, but as someone who has to read these, please revise. Okay. Anyway, so for when you do your reverse outlining, you're going to do, when you're doing your reorganizing your drafts, you want to make sure that if you want, you can, reverse outline, kind of break it apart, talk it out. When you're reading it, maybe talk with somebody about it, or even you can use a mirror, like talk to the mirror, say it out loud, because there's actually research that says when you go to teach somebody else what you're trying to learn, that's how you learn. Teaching is how you learn, if that makes any sense. So try and teach something or someone, put a little stuffed animal there and try and explain to them what's in the paper. And as you're explaining it, you can go back and like rewrite it in the way that you need. For me, I like sectioning it off. Remember, we talk about organizing. I had some papers where the entire paper was a paragraph. My God, don't do that to your peers or me. Break up your ideas, pull them apart and go, okay, I notice this is an idea and this is an idea and they don't correlate, so I have to take them out and then move them, right? So this is, again, papers should be malleable. You should be able to move them around. And if it doesn't apply, throw it out. Kill your darlings, as they were. You might really appreciate this paragraph and you're just like, I don't know how to put it in there. It's probably because it doesn't belong. Get rid of it. Okay. I hate to put page counts because I hate that you would write to the page count. I would prefer you to write because it's the thing you need to say. But we're still working on writing and being comfortable with it. So, don't try and write to the word count. Write because you need to tell us what it is you need to tell us, if that makes sense. Okay. All right. Anyway, so I'm going to give you a minute and I'm going to give you some of the outlining information, and then I'm going to come right back and we're going to talk about source summary.